Alright everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to install your own custom skyboxes into Black Ops 2, or how to install the ones that I've already included. Now if you want to learn just how to install the ones that I already included, skip to this time in the video. But if you want to learn how to make your own, just keep watching. First things first is that you want to find an HDR image on Google or whatever. You could also make your own, but I recommend just using one from this website. This website has a bunch of free ones that you can download. One thing you got to keep in mind is if you're going to use a regular image, the results, you'll still get pretty decent results with the method I'll teach you, but the results just won't be comparable to when you're using an actual HDR image. So just find one that you like. What you're looking for is you're looking for one that has a cool sort of thing going on from like about this height to this height. Like that's pretty much what you're gonna see in game right there, because the player, you're never gonna have a player looking straight up into the sky, so what's up here really doesn't matter too much, but when he's looking straight forward ahead, all you're really gonna be seeing in most clips and most frags is this. So I'll just download this one. It looks kind of good. And I'll see you guys once that's downloaded. Okay, so once that's downloaded, we can open it up. You'll see it'll have this .hdr file in it. I'm just going to drag that into my little HDR, sort of my little Skybox folder here. Now you can drag this file directly into After Effects, but I highly recommend drag it into Photoshop first, because Photoshop will have you'll have more control over the image, and usually when you drag HDRs in, they'll kind of look fucked up like this. So if we look at the original, I mean, it looks very similar, but like some of them, especially the ones that have a lot of highlights and oranges, will look very desaturated. So all you want to do is you want to go to Image, Adjustments, HDR Toning, and this will give you more control over the image. I usually first start off by lowering the highlights and then boosting up the vibrance. One thing you'll notice is that BO2 will desaturate any skybox you throw in, which is very annoying. So just keep that in mind. So you want to boost up the saturation as much as you can, because like BO2 is going to take that shit away. This should be good. You could adjust a little bit more if you wanted to, but yeah. This will take a while, so I'll see you guys when that's done. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm just going to go to File, Save As. Save this as a TIFF file format, and then just click Save, and I just use those settings. I think those are the default. If they're not, whatever settings, they should work. Anyways, now I'm going to open up this Skybox generator file, or project file. And it's very simple what this project file is. It just contains two compositions, each having a 6:1 aspect ratio, which is needed for cube maps. Basically, cube maps are the type of skybox that BO2 uses. So if you just look here, this is the low quality skybox. It's 3072 by 512. And it's a 6:1 aspect ratio. This is the lowest quality that skyboxes I would say you should go, but this is also the most common resolution of skyboxes for BO2, which I don't recommend, even though most skyboxes are like that. I recommend using this composition instead, which is pretty much the highest quality I found you can go without having Black Ops 2 crash. So yeah, we're going to be using the high quality one. Just import that TIFF image that you exported from Photoshop, and yeah, so drag this in. All you want to do is you can drag either this sort of preset effect that I have here, just cut that, drag it on, and you're good to go. Or basically the settings are very simple if you want to do it yourself. You just drag on the effect called VR Converter. You change the input to equine rectangular 2:1, and then put the output to your VR 6:1, and that's pretty much all there's to it. If you're using like a 2D image or some like sort of abstract image, stock footage, or whatever you find on Google that's not an HDR, that's not like a panorama image, you're gonna have to use the 2D source. And you'll notice like immediately that with 2D sources, like this happens. This sort of like, look at that. That'll happen even though we're using an HDR. That'll happen all the time with regular 2D, images that are not HDRs. So just make sure to use an HDR, because you'll get the best results that way. Anyways, we're just gonna go to render queue. This is the high quality Skybox comp name or composition. And I'm just exporting it to a Photoshop sequence, only exporting 1 frame. As you can see, the start is 0, end is 0, duration is 1 frame. And just export that to your desktop, render. And all right, so once that's done, first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you've installed this Photoshop plugin. This is the DDS/D3D NVIDIA Photoshop plugin. This is the old version. The new version I found didn't work for me, but I found after scrolling down through the website, I was able to download the old version, which is the old version is what you want. So just install that to Photoshop and you'll be good to go. And then just open up that file that you exported out of After Effects. Just drag that in, and once it's in Photoshop, just go to File, Save As, go to D3D/DDS, save, and then make sure this is DX5, interpolated alpha, cube map, and then image option. I put it at the highest. Normally, I think it's set to normal, but that's just personal preference. I just highest quality, you know. Save it. And this will take a while, especially if you're using the high quality resolution, you know, the 9000 by like 5 by like 1600, you know. So yeah. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm just going to drag this into our little Skybox folder over here. Whoops. And I'm just going to drag this into this IWI DDS fast file converter. Drag that into there, click 1, or just type 1 for Black Ops 2, as you can see. Click enter, it'll convert that to an IWI file, which is what you need for Black Ops 2. It's the file type that Black Ops 2 can read. You're just going to want to rename that to Sky, and then copy that into this folder. Replace, because whatever was in there is not what you need. And then just run this file, run this bat file, and it'll create a bunch of copies of the same file, all named the proper names for Black Ops 2. Select all of them except for these two. Control X, cut them, and then bring them into your BO2 redacted directory, data, images, copy them here, replace. Or if you've never done skyboxes before, you won't have to replace anything, I don't think. Anyways, so as you can see, I already have Black Ops 2 open. You actually don't need to close your BO2 redacted in order to load a custom skybox. But I'm just going to open up the BO2 console here, and we'll load up a game. So I'll show you 2 instances of what can happen when you load up your skybox. So I think Standoff's a good example to use. Yeah. So as you can see, in Standoff in particular, some maps are different. Not all maps will have, you know, will have you fucking having to cut the grass on the skybox. But all you gotta do if you encounter this is you just gotta go to Sun and then click Sky Transition. Or I think the dvar is something like R_Sky Transition 1, I think. Is it? I can't remember exactly. There it is. Yeah, it is. So just 1 or 0, whichever one will work. And usually just change the sky brightness to 3 or around 3 to 3.5 for most maps. And yeah, we could rotate this, I guess, like over here, you know. And we could also change the sky temperature here, make it more blue, make it more orange. The yellows there are kind of getting fucked up, but we can sort of adjust, you know, the temperature of the sky to make it work. But that's how to install a custom skybox. For some reason, these lines will show up. I mean, you can't really see them when I zoom in, but like they're there. You could see like that line. That's pretty much the only fix I found to doing that is just changing your anti-aliasing to 4 times. I think this is a problem with the NVIDIA Inspector, and as you can see, it's gone. Yeah, that shouldn't really make it much of an issue. Just to let you know, that's how to fix it, and that's like how it is. But most of the time, it won't really be a big deal. Another case of when you're importing a skybox, I'll show you guys just real quick. Alright, so the one sort of rare instance of where the skybox is kind of odd and you kind of have to do a little odd thing to fix it is on Nuketown. So you'll see when we load in what I mean. Alright, so by default, this is how your skybox will look in Nuketown. It's going to look very dark. It'll actually be facing the right way, like you won't have to do the sky transition normally. But you'll have to turn up the brightness to like 5. So that's the only issue with the Nuketown skyboxes, is that for some reason Nuketown's default sort of sky brightness is way lower than the rest of the skyboxes in Black Ops 2. I don't know why it's like that, but it's Nuketown, I guess, it's whatever. But yeah, so yeah, that's just all you really need to know. And if you're finding that most of your maps have like you having to cut the grass when you like you had to do the sky transition, one workaround is you can go into After Effects, and then you can go to your VR converter and you can just do this roll thing and just do 180, and that'll pretty much fix that, and you won't have to do sky transition every time on like most maps. But yeah, that should be everything. I hope I answered all your questions and taught you how to make your own custom skyboxes. It's very simple. I thought it'd be a lot harder. And it took me like a day to figure out, like a straight day of trying shit until I figured out that there's actually just an effect called VR Converter that does it all for you. So, yeah.